very good evening and welcome to the news tonight. Your one stop for the day's top stories from India and across the world. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. Union Minister Smriti Irani refutes allegations that her ministry had a role in the student's suicide, claims the incident is being maliciously misrepresented as a Dalit versus non-Dalit confrontation. The centre approves amendments to the Power Tariff Policy 2006, changes intended to ensure 24/7 power supply, also reduce cost of power to consumers. Markets fall below the 24,000 mark during the day. BSE Sensex sheds 417 points. Rupee breaches the 68 per dollar mark to hit a 29-month low. ISRO launches India's fifth navigation satellite. The IRNSS-1E moves a step closer to a homegrown global positioning system. And Pakistani Taliban strikes again. Terrorists on a shooting rampage gunned down 20 people at a university in the country's northwest region. Top story this evening. HRD Minister Smriti Irani today charged the opposition with maliciously misrepresenting the suicide of Hyderabad University research scholar Rohit Vemla as a Dalit versus non-Dalit confrontation. She said that the suicide note left behind by Vemla did not mention any political organization or even an MP. Her clarification came at a press conference on a day when many party leaders lent their weight to the protests against the suicide.
Amid heated protests and demonstrations, Hyderabad Central University Vice-Chancellor Appa Rao stating that there was no pressure from union ministers or the HRD ministry to act against Rohit Vemula. He also insisted that the Dalit student's suicide note did not mention his suspension as the reason for his death. Rao said he was deeply disturbed by the loss of precious life and the disruption of academic activities.
The full Executive Council in its meeting held on the 27th of November took a lenient view and decided to permit the students access to all the departments, library, academic meetings, but not in the hostel, public places and administration. This also was communicated to the High Court. These students challenged the order of suspension from the hostel before the High Court. The High Court did not agree to stay the punishment.
However, fresh protests disturbed the campus even as several politicians headed to the city. Prominent among them on Wednesday were YSR Congress leader Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy and CPIM leader Sitaram Yechuri.
Central ministers who have pressurized the university authorities to take such an action. And some of these actions are impermissible according to our constitution. What do you mean by social boycott? I mean, this is something that is completely unacceptable. It's clearly a mindset which wants to perpetuate the caste divisions in our society.
Besides Hyderabad, many cities across the country, including Delhi, Mumbai, Pune and Chennai, were rocked by protests on Tuesday.
Because of the letter written by him and the recommendations made by Smriti Irani to the Vice-Chancellor, the boy was forced into this kind of a situation. I think the minister should go.
BJP's rivals are demanding the removal of Union Ministers Smriti Irani and Bandaru Dattatreya, accusing them of being responsible for the death. Various political parties blamed Labour Minister Dattatreya's August 17th letter to Smriti Irani seeking action against the anti-national activities of a students' union and the alleged assault of an ABVP leader. The HRD ministry rejected the allegations of putting any pressure on the university on suspending Rohit. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In other news, the central government has approved amendments to the Power Tariff Policy 2006 with an aim to ensure 24/7 power supply and reduce the cost of power to consumers. The cabinet also approved a policy on promotion of city compost, under which a subsidy of 1,500 per tonne will be given on city compost to promote use of organic fertilizers.
The Union Cabinet on Wednesday took a holistic view of the power sector and approved comprehensive amendments in the Power Tariff Policy 2006. The amendments are also aimed at achieving the objectives of Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana with the focus on 4 E's: electricity for all, efficiency to ensure affordable tariffs, environment for a sustainable future, and ease of doing business to attract investments and ensure financial viability.
हर एक रेगुलेटर को ये कहा गया है कि राज्य सरकार के साथ मिलके वो एक ट्रैजेक्टरी बनाए कैसे और कम से कम समय सीमा में हर घर तक, हर उद्योगपति तक, हर उद्योग कारखाने तक, हर दफ्तर तक, हर दुकानदार तक कैसे सबको 24/7 बिजली पहुंचाने का उनका रोड मैप क्या होगा, ये उनको जरूरी बना के हमें देना पड़ेगा और हम उसके ऊपर मॉनिटरिंग करेंगे और उस पर निर्धारित होगा केंद्र सरकार का उनको सपोर्ट। जितने एग्जिस्टिंग पावर प्लांट्स हैं उन सबको 100% तक एक्सपेंशन ऑटोमेटिक रूट से अलाउ किया जाए, ऐसा प्रावधान इस टैरिफ पॉलिसी में लाया गया है, जिससे कि एग्जिस्टिंग जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है वो ज्यादा अच्छी तरीके से यूटिलाइज हो सके।
Cabinet also gave its nod to a policy on promotion of city compost with an aim to promote the use of organic fertilizer.
एक बैलेंस फर्टिलाइजेशन भी लाने के लिए इस कंपोस्ट का अहम उपयोगिता है और आज तक पिछले 68 सालों में कोई ऑर्गेनिक फर्टिलाइजर के ऊपर सब्सिडी नहीं था, केवल केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर के ऊपर भारत सरकार सब्सिडी देती थी। लेकिन आज के निर्णय के बाद कंपोस्ट को भी हम मार्केट डेवलपमेंट असिस्टेंस के नाम पर हर टन के लिए 1,500 रुपए का सब्सिडी देने वाले हैं।
CCA also approved setting up of over 5,000 megawatt of grid-connected solar PV power projects on build, own and operate basis. A subsidy of 5,050 crore rupees under VGF scheme was also approved for these projects. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV.
In fact, Vishal Dahiya is joining us now on the phone line for more details on this and, of course, the reforms that are to be taking place now. Vishal, some bold reforms that they're talking about, of course, in detail, if you could give us an idea about the new tariff policy, this is sure to boost investment as well.
Well, yes, Tracy, you're right. As far as the new tariff policy is concerned, the main aim for the government right now seems to be ensuring that all the consumers in the country get electricity 24/7. And on top of that, the power price, as in the cost at which the consumers are getting electricity, that cost has to be brought down. So all in all, that seems to be the wholesome idea. But to achieve that and to achieve some other objectives as well, and to align this policy with the other policies of the government, specifically the one which was cleared by the cabinet today only, the compost policy. The government has made some changes, rather brought in some amendments to the 2006 tariff policy. One of them, and a significant one, being that all the power plants which are rather situated along the banks of major rivers, those power plants will have to use the treated sewage, treatment water in their plants. This is to ensure that the entire the riverfront on which the government has already launched a campaign to clear them of all the debris that is taken into account, and this policy also gels with that. Apart from that, there are several other initiatives which have been taken specifically with respect to the renewable energy segment. Now, while the government has been seen pushing forward the solar energy and wind energy segment, as far as the hydropower projects are concerned, in this particular policy which has been cleared today, there is an provision wherein the hydropower projects which will be set up till 2022, that is 2022, when India celebrates 75th years of its independence. Till then, the hydropower projects will be exempted from the competitive bidding. So all sorts of the promotional policies, promotional points are being brought into this particular policy through these amendments to ensure that not only the power supply remains uninterrupted and at a lower cost, but also to ensure that those who generate power, that is the generators, the power plant operators, they also get the required amount of fillip to ensure that they remain in business And the 4 E's which the Power Minister spoke about, one of
Yes.
them was about ease of doing business as well.
Absolutely.
So clearly, it seems to be an attempt by the Modi government to have a holistic view at the power tariff policy in the power sector.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Vishal, thanks so much for joining us on this story. Thank you. Meanwhile, Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh today said that the NDA government had initiated several steps to strengthen cooperative federalism. He claimed that the government had accepted a reduced fiscal space after implementing the recommendations of the 14th Finance Commission.
Inaugurating the International Conference on Strengthening Cooperative Federalism, Home Minister Rajnath Singh promising state governments a much higher share of central taxes. The 14th Finance Commission recommends their share to be 3.48 lakh crore in 2014-15 and 5.26 lakh crore in 2015-16.
India government at the center has taken some important policy initiatives to strengthen the spirit of cooperative federalism. Foremost is the increase in the share of divisible tax pool from 32% to 42% as per recommendation of the 14th Finance Commission.
The Union Minister also said the implementation of goods and service tax will be a win-win for states. He further said the advantages will strengthen the federal mechanism and substantially reduce the cost of compliance with reducing tax evasion.
It will have far-reaching implications and will help unify the whole country as a market and lead to uniformity in taxes on goods and services.
The Home Minister also informed that Niti Aayog was formed to strengthen states, while the recomposition of interstate councils will fast-track consultation process with the states. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
Now, in more news, the Sensex sank nearly 650 points during the day, slipping below the psychological 24,000 mark, ending the day on a 20-month low. The rupee also breached the 68 per dollar mark to hit a 29-month low. Here are more details.
The BSE Sensex on Wednesday plummeting 640 points in intraday trade to go below the psychological mark of 24,000. NSE Nifty slipped again below the 7,400 mark in early trade. The 30-share index tumbled 417.80 points or 1.71% to 24,062.04, with all sectoral indices led by capital goods, realty, banking and oil and gas trading in the red. The National Stock Exchange Nifty again dipped below 7,400 mark, shedding 124.90 points to 7,310.20. Brokers blamed sustained capital outflows amid a weak trend on Asian markets on renewed worries over globally slowing economic growth and falling oil prices. The International Monetary Fund's decision to downgrade global growth forecast for the year and issue a warning about the outlook also added to the gloomy mood. The rupee also depreciated, tumbling 30 paise to trade at over 28-month low of 67.95 against the dollar. Among Asian markets, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index was down 3.32% and Japan's Nikkei shed 2.15% in the morning trade. Shanghai Composite Index too fell 0.73%. The US Dow Jones Industrial Average, however, ended 0.17% higher in Tuesday's trade. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Without a quick break here, we'll be back with more news. Stay with us. Welcome back. Let's get to some more national news now. Dense fog and cold wave conditions continue to affect normal life across North India. Himachal Pradesh's capital, Shimla, in fact, received the heaviest snowfall of the season, with minimum temperatures dipping to 2 degrees Celsius. Delhi, Haryana, Punjab and Uttar Pradesh also remained covered in a blanket of thick fog, which affected vehicular and train movement.
Severe cold conditions persisted in North India as temperatures dipped further following rain and snowfall in Himachal Pradesh. The state's capital, Shimla, received the heaviest snowfall of the season as the minimum temperature dipped to 2 degrees Celsius. The Met Department predicted a further drop in temperatures and dry weather conditions.
से हिमाचल प्रदेश के जो मिड हिल और हाई हिल है इसमें बादल छाए हुए हैं और कुछ एक इलाकों में हल्की बर्फबारी भी हुई है। शिमला में भी जो लाइट स्नोफॉल हुआ है जिसकी वजह से जो तापमान है इसमें गिरावट आई है। आज जो मिनिमम तापमान है शिमला का वो भी कम था, 2 डिग्री मिनिमम टेम्परेचर था और जो हल्की बारिश और बर्फबारी की वजह से जो तापमान है इसमें तापमान में गिरावट आई। 2 से 4 डिग्री तक जो तापमान में गिरावट रिकॉर्ड की गई।
Fresh snowfall is expected to bring cheers to the hotel and tourism industry as more tourists are expected to visit the state to enjoy snowfall. The sudden snowfall this time is considered good for the apple crops.
बर्फबारी का बड़े काफ़ी अरसे से इंतज़ार था और इस बर्फबारी से जो है किसानों को तो बहुत फ़ायदा होने वाला है, बागवानों को भी काफ़ी फ़ायदा इससे होगा। अगर बर्फबारी ठीक हो जाए और ज़मीन में नमी जो इससे हो तो बहुत बड़ा फ़ायदा इससे होगा।
ये अचानक हो गई है जो कि बहुत अच्छा है। हम काफ़ी दिनों से इंतज़ार था इसका, जो कि अभी आज अच्छा बारिश हो रहा है। हमारे जिसे घूमने आते हैं लोग देखने के लिए, उनको अच्छा लगता है ये।
Mercury dipped in Jammu and Kashmir as well, with night temperatures dropping below freezing point. However, Srinagar experienced bright sunshine for the second day in a row despite a drop in the night temperature. Leh was the coldest with the lowest temperature at -16.4 degrees Celsius. The plains of Delhi, Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh were also hit by severe cold as maximum temperatures dipped several notches below normal. Visibility remained poor due to dense fog as it affected the vehicular and train movement. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
ISRO today successfully launched India's 5th navigation satellite, the IRNSS-1E, moving a step closer to homegrown global positioning system. The IRNSS-1E carries 7 satellites. President Pranab Mukherjee and Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated ISRO for the successful launch. ISRO will in fact launch 2 more such satellites in the next 2 months to fully ready India's regional navigation system soon.
Launch of the 5th navigation satellites into the geotransfer orbit is a major milestone in the history of indigenous navigation system. When the Indian navigation systems comes into operation, it will be a tremendous boon, especially for our security agencies.
The success rate of PSLV definitely is remarkable. The magnificent launch of PSLV C-31 you have all witnessed. It has delivered the IRNSS-1E satellite into the desired orbit very precisely.
And here's a quick roundup of some more national news updates in Nationwide. Senior BJP leader Amit Shah is all set to be re-elected as the party president. Shah's tenure at the helm of the party is ending on the 23rd of January. If re-elected, this would be the first full tenure for Shah, as he is now just completing the remnant of the 3-year term of Rajnath Singh. The nominations will be filed on the 24th of January and scrutiny will take place the same day. In fact, more good news for Amit Shah. The BJP chief today got a clean chit from Uttar Pradesh police in a case involving an alleged hate speech delivered during the Lok Sabha election in the state. The police said that no evidence was found against him. The report will be submitted in a court that will give its verdict. Two militants were killed in an overnight gun battle with security forces in a village in Pulwama district of South Kashmir. The operation was launched on Tuesday evening after security forces received information about the presence of militants at Naina village. The Supreme Court today reserved its verdict on petition seeking a recall of an earlier order by which Justice Virendra Singh was appointed the Lokayukt of Uttar Pradesh. The apex court also made clear that it would not send the appointment issue back to the empowered collegium as it had failed to comply with its orders on the appointment of Lokayukt for nearly 20 months. In news from Pakistan, at least 20 people were killed as Taliban militants went on a shooting rampage at a university in the northwest region. The death toll is expected to go up as the rescue mission is still on. 4 suspected attackers were reportedly killed in the gun battle. Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif condemned the tragic incident and reiterated his promise to wipe out terrorism from Pakistan.
हमारे सामने बहुत से लोग ऐसे भी थे कि गिर पड़े, उसके हालात भी खराब हुए।
मेरा जो दोस्त था वो जो खूब और रास उसमें बहुत ज्यादा पहले हुआ था, वो जो है यूनिवर्सिटी की बिल्डिंग से कूदा।
फायरिंग की आवाज़, पिछली साइड से फायरिंग की आवाज़ आई है, बस उधर से हमने कहा पता नहीं किसकी झगड़ा हुआ या क्या हुआ है, आगे से फिर फायरिंग ज्यादा होने लगी।
Terror gripped Pakistan again. This time, Taliban gunmen stormed the Bacha Khan University in Charsadda, opening indiscriminate fire at students and teachers. To make it worse, militants raided the university, timing their attack to ensure maximum casualties. The Pakistani army was quick to respond. They claimed at least 4 militants were killed. The campus has been secured as of now.
अभी तक रेस्क्यू 1122 ने 19 जांबहक अफराद की लाशें जो है वो हॉस्पिटल मुंतकिल की हैं और 20 के करीब जख्मी ऐसे हैं जिनको इब्तिदाई तिब्बी इमदाद फराहम करने के साथ साथ जो है वो हॉस्पिटल मुंतकिल किया है।
All injured were rushed to the nearby hospitals. Pakistani Army Chief General Raheel Sharif visited the university to take stock of the situation, while Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif said perpetrators will be brought to justice. Gunmen launched the attack as the university prepared to host a poetry recital on Wednesday afternoon to commemorate the death anniversary of Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, a popular Pashtun independence activist after whom the university is named. The university vice-chancellor said they teach over 3,000 students and were hosting an additional 600 visitors for the recital. Taliban said the attack was in response to a military offensive against militant strongholds. The shocking attack is also a reminiscent of the December 2014 attack on a school in Peshawar, in which over 150 people were killed. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
India and the United Kingdom agreed to strengthen their economic cooperation in infrastructure and financial services as they pledged to address cross-border tax evasion and avoidance. The British Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, held bilateral talks with Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on Tuesday ahead of the World Economic Forum. The two sides discussed cooperation between both countries at the residence of the British Finance Minister in London. Jaitley also addressed an investors' summit at the London Stock Exchange and will leave for the World Economic Forum in Davos this evening. In fact, that forum will be held in the Swiss town of Davos, and it formally opened today with calls for cooperation and collaboration against the backdrop of rising inequality and crisis in Europe and the Middle East. The theme of the meeting this year is Mastering the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Over 2,500 leaders from business, government, international organizations, academia, media and the arts are taking part in the meet.
Politicians and business leaders gathering in the Swiss Alps this week are faced with an unlikely challenge: how to tackle an increasingly divided world. The world's poor have fallen far behind the super rich, and political fissures in the US, Europe and the Middle East run deeper than at any time in decades. Just 62 people own as much wealth as the poorer half of the entire world population, with the wealth gap widening faster than earlier anticipated.
So this year's annual meeting has three main pillars. The first is, of course, the fourth industrial revolution. Also means the merger between the classical industry on the one hand and the digital industry on the other hand. The second pillar is the humanitarian imperative. So how to deal with the situation on the ground, what about social cohesion, and how to support, how to help the many refugees on a global level. And the third pillar is the question of the root causes. What are the reasons for refugees, and what about the diplomatic challenges and even the question of war and peace the global community is facing in some regions?
The focus this year is also on climate change and the fight against deadly diseases.
I believe that we need a moonshot in this country, an absolute national commitment to end cancer as we know it. I'm not naive to think that, as someone suggested, that we're going to have a cure to every cancer in the world, that that's going to come in the near term. That's not what is happening.
The forum opened with an award to Hollywood actor Leonardo DiCaprio. He was one of 4 recipients of the Crystal Awards. Also honored were singer and songwriter William, Chinese actress Yao Chen, and artist Oliver Eliasson from Germany.
We simply cannot afford to allow the corporate greed of the coal, oil, and gas industries to determine the future of humanity. Those entities with a financial interest in preserving this destructive system have denied and even covered up the evidence of our changing climate. Enough is enough. You know better. The world knows better. History will place the blame for this devastation squarely at their feet.
Meanwhile, in a first-of-its-kind global ranking, the World Economic Forum found that most countries are in fact missing major opportunities to reduce income inequality, and the same is the case with India. The country has been ranked very low globally on most parameters for inclusive growth and development. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will represent India at Davos. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
And for some more international news updates, let's get you Global Buzz. The man known as Jihadi John is dead. Dabiq, the English language magazine of the terrorist outfit Islamic State, confirmed that Mohammed Emwazi or Jihadi John has died. Emwazi appeared in several videos depicting beheadings of Western hostages. Shown in the videos dressed in black, Emwazi became one of the world's most wanted men. The site Intelligence Group that monitors terrorist activity reported that ISIS published a eulogizing profile about him. Bomb threats were made against schools in New Jersey, Massachusetts, Delaware and Iowa in the U.S. on Tuesday, forcing evacuations that affected thousands of students. At least one school was also threatened with being targeted for being targeted for a mass shooting, the police said. Then the police are investigating the threats now. North Korea's nuclear tests may not have expanded its technical capability, but the U.S. government is still keeping a close eye on Pyongyang. A U.S. Vice Admiral said that the nation continues to be alarming and provoking. He, however, did not give any details on what was North Korea's fourth nuclear test. The International Monetary Fund cut its global growth forecast for the third time in less than a year on the 19th of January, citing a sharp slowdown in China trade. The fund said that policymakers should be considering ways to bolster short-term demand. The updated World Economic Outlook forecast came as global financial markets were roiled by worries over China's slowdown and plummeting oil prices. Pakistan conducted a successful flight test of an indigenously developed cruise missile. The nuclear-capable missile enables the country to achieve air-delivered strategic standoff capability on land and at sea. The flight test of the missile Rad is generally designed to carry a large conventional or nuclear warhead many hundreds of miles with high accuracy. All right, let's change focus and get you some sports news with cricket now. Dominant Australia came back from a position of defeat to beat India comfortably by 25 runs in the fourth ODI at Canberra today. Kane Richardson struck a match-winning 5-wicket haul to help Australia win after India were cruising at 277 for 1 at one stage in their pursuit of Australia's 348. This was after Australia won the toss and elected to bat for the first time in this series. Their openers once again gave them a flying start as David Warner and Aaron Finch added a 187-run stand for the first wicket in 30 overs to set the platform for a big total. India started on a positive note as both openers Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma added 65 runs inside the first 8 overs. Even after losing Sharma's wicket, Virat Kohli and Dhawan went on to stitch a 212-run stand for the second wicket and took India to 277 in 37.3 overs at the loss of just 1 wicket. Both the batsmen went on to score hundreds and they were cruising well. However, the tables turned when first Dhawan and then Kohli got out. And from there on, the visitors kept losing wickets at regular intervals and lost the match without even playing their entire quota of 50 overs. With their fourth loss on the trot, India are trailing 4-0 in the series and are on the verge of facing a whitewash. And in tennis, top seeds made progress to the next round on the third day of the Australian Open. Defending champion Novak Djokovic maintained his composure to beat Frenchman Quentin Halys in straight sets to advance to the third round. World number 3 Roger Federer also advanced after overcoming resistance from Alexander Dolgopolov with a 6-3, 7-5, 6-1 victory. In the women's singles, defending champion Serena Williams ramped up her attempt for a 22nd Grand Slam title with a dominant 6-1, 6-2 win over an unseeded Taiwanese player. Maria Sharapova also advanced into the third round by beating unseeded Belarusian Alexandra Sasnovich 6-2, 6-1. And that's all we have for you on the news tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.